Overview first, zoom and filter, and then details on demand is the mantra for chart comprehension. When implemented, most details on demand is limited to values of single marks using tooltips or pop-ups. However, retrieving specific data values is rarely the end goal of visual data comprehension. In many tasks, getting details about a single data point is just a step in the process of acquiring higher-level insights. Existing detail-on-demand systems are difficult to extend to more complex detail types or selections. When trying to compare two bars, for example, the end user would have to make multiple clicks. Or if the analyst wants to see the correlation for points in a scatter plot, they would need to engage in complex menu-based interactions. Such interactions lose the ease of access and ephemerality that make detail-on-demand interactions useful. Beyond the interaction, there are a wide array of detail types and ways of displaying them. To support a broader set of details on demand, we designed SmartCues. SmartCues is a framework for describing interactions, details, and descriptions of how the details should be displayed, which we call overlays. SmartCues supports natural interactions through multitouch and gesture. This allows the end user to request complex details for multiple selections through simple touch and gesture. For example, the end user can simultaneously touch the two bars to get the difference that previously took multiple clicks. The end user can also signal that they want a trend line by swiping diagonally on a scatter plot. There is a trade-off when designing natural interactions of this type. Though they are easier to learn and use, they are often highly ambiguous. When a single interaction is ambiguous, SmartCues is able to rank and provide interactive affordances to allow the end user to resolve the ambiguity. SmartCues is able to dynamically adapt multiple detail overlays to reduce clutter. For example, if the end user is trying to compare a single bar against multiple other bars, instead of showing overlapping lines and arrows, we encode the difference as rectangular overlays, which can interactively reveal data values. To demonstrate how SmartCues can be broadly applied, we've implemented detail on demand for a number of chart types. The designer can select to enable any of these, modify them, or add their own. SmartCue implements the familiar detail on demand interactions, which we call single target tasks, by tapping on a mark. This allows the end user to retrieve the value of a point in a line graph or a bar in a bar chart. Additionally, end users can utilize multi-touch and gesture to query for sophisticated details on multiple targets. For instance, end users can look up the number of points that fall between two x intervals on a scatter plot by tapping on the interval on that axis. This generates an overlay to show the encompassing marks and also displays the count as a label. They can also do this for the y-axis intervals. To compare 2 points by their y-axis value, the end user can simultaneously tap on the corresponding points, which renders local axes around one point and a label around the second point showing the difference. They can look up changes between 2 points on a line graph by tapping the corresponding x-axis values. For global level tasks, users can perform simple gestures across all marks. Each detail request produces an overlay which can contain a mixture of text and other graphics. As with standard detail-on-demand approaches, overlays can be quickly dismissed, either after a set timeout or through the interface. SmartCues is able to recognize patterns when multiple details are requested. To reduce clutter, SmartCues can use this information to replace many overlays with one that is more readable. While many features of Details on Demand are chart-specific, we have designed SmartCues to allow developers to extend the system to new chart types by building off our guidelines and implementation. New interaction, detail types, and overlays can be easily added. As shown here in a thematic map, it is hard to not only decode color gradients, but also compare different regions of small changes. By simultaneously tapping on two regions of interest, SmartCue overlays the difference as a label value. To answer questions such as how many states have carbon emissions above a certain value, the end user can tap on the legend, which is the x-axis for the choropleth. While the visualization and corresponding encodings are different, the interactions to query for details are familiar and follow the same pattern as our other charts.